Right then, time for a new CVCV Lockdown format. The show's been going really well so far. We cracked out 9 episodes and barely even blinked. Then ended the series in style with a fantabulous live stream, featuring amazing stories, great guests, and a tiebreaker finale.
With a landslide victory of 3-1, the winners were...
And to top it all off, the crew sharpened their wit with the whetstone of humour, brought the improv pain, and only went and won the whole bloody thing. Now it's time to shake it up. The bandits have put their heads together and wildly thrown ideas into the melting pot, like a bunch of Shakespearean hags on speed. Bubble, bubble, toil, and improv. Let's see what they've come up with. Random name generators, plays, movies, books, Wikipedia plot synopses on said plays, movies, and books, one central narrator, and a whole cast of characters. What's that, Mary? You think it sounds like an amazing plan? Sure, it might not be perfect to begin with, but with time we can turn it into another original and entertaining show, and you're really looking forward to performing it? Well, that's great, Mary. Just great. Why don't you, yes you, host the first episode as the narrator? In fact, bring a story to perform as well. It's perfect. You know so much about plays and storytelling. It's like your parents threw out the Action Man and Barbie doll when you were a child and gave you Oscar Wilde's brain to play with instead. Take it away, Mary. This is CVCV Lockdown Series 2.
Hello, and welcome back to Cast vs Crew vs Lockdown, this time, the new show. So, the way this is going to work, I am going to be your narrator for the evening, or the day, whenever you're watching this, and today we are reading Romeo and Juliet. But the way this is going to work, I shall tell the story, and we shall occasionally have scenes which shall be played by Martin, Matt and Josh, wherever they are, but they will not be playing them as themselves, they will be playing the characters as other characters, which will hopefully make sense when we get to it. So, we're telling Romeo and Juliet, I have 10 minutes, wish me luck, off we go. So, in Verona, in Italy, way back when, there were 2 families, the Montagues and the Capulets, and they were at war. The families absolutely hated each other. Now, Juliet was the daughter of the Capulets, and her father wanted to marry her off to a man named Paris, but she wasn't entirely keen on that. And Romeo was the son of the Montagues, and he had fallen in love with a woman called Rosalind, but then some of his friends found out that the Capulets were hosting a ball, so they decided they would dress up as Capulets and break in, and in they go. And at this ball, Romeo of the Montagues met Juliet. So in this scene, Matt, you are playing Romeo as Spock, and Josh, if you could be Juliet as Count Dracula.
Of course.
My goodness, hello there. I must say I have never seen a woman so fine. Live long with me.
Why, thank you. I will have no trouble living long, as my blood gives me immortal life, as long as I do not step into the sun. Your eyes, they are beautiful and somewhat emotionless.
It is only logical that my eyes are beautiful. They are perfectly symmetrically arranged on my face, and they are emotionless because emotion is, of course, a weakness, and as a Vulcan I have spurned all emotion, but I must say that for you, you are the first time I felt emotion towards someone else since my birth.
And cut. So, Romeo and Juliet fell deeply in love and arranged with one of the local priests, Friar Lawrence, to get married. However, Juliet's cousin, Tybalt, found out that the Montagues had infiltrated the ball and challenged Romeo to a duel for his honour. Romeo refused to fight because he considered him family. He was going to be cousin-in-law. So he refused to fight, and Mercutio, who was one of Romeo's friends, was completely insulted and threatened to fight Tybalt instead. So now we have the fight between them. Martin, you are Tybalt as C-3PO, and John, if you could jump in as Mercutio as Severus Snape to fight to the death.
Of course. Well, C-3PO, it would appear you have insulted my friend.
Hello, I am Tybalt, human and cyborg relations. I am not built for combat.
Well, that's a shame. Draw your sword.
My limbs are not built for drawing swords. I would much rather engage in a battle of the wits.
Well,
And so, Tybalt fatally wounds Mercutio, and Romeo is so horrified that he slays Tybalt
Ow.
in revenge. But unfortunately, the prince town finds out and banishes Romeo from the city. So he goes and lives in a little shack with Friar Lawrence, and Juliet is heartbroken that her husband-to-be has been sent away, so she goes and meets them so that they can marry in secret. But her mother says that she has to be married to Paris, the guy she's betrothed to. So she runs away and asks Friar Lawrence for help because he's some sort of local white man. And he says that he can give her a potion which will make her seem like she's dead. And so the family can call off the wedding and mourn her death and whatever. And then she can run away and be with Romeo. So she takes this and sends a messenger to let Romeo know the plan so that he can go and get her back once she's out of her coma and everything will be fine. But unfortunately, the messenger does not deliver the message. And so Juliet goes home and she takes this potion and falls into a deep, deep sleep. And her family come in the morning and find her and think that she's dead. So we find they take her to the crypt and lay her down, and news spreads throughout the kingdom of the Capulet's daughter's tragic death and eventually reaches Romeo, who decides that he's going to go and be with her. And Romeo, take it away.
I've heard of this tragic death, and I am moved, which is strange. I have never been moved before, but now I feel this part of my chest, where biologically speaking I know my central heart must be, feels in pain. I'm hurting. I must go and be with Juliet, and I shall Vulcan death grip anyone who gets in my way, especially if anyone's waiting outside her tomb, which would be logical to guard it against people just like me. But I will use my Vulcan death grip.
Hand cut. So Romeo goes to the tomb and sneaks in because he's still not supposed to be there. The family still absolutely hate him. So he sneaks in and uses his Vulcan death grip, which is what he calls his dagger. he sort of mourns over Juliet for a while and then stabs himself and dies. And then Juliet, of course, wakes up from this medically induced coma and is horrified to find the body of her beloved there. So she's incredibly upset and wonders what she can possibly do. So she takes the knife out of Romeo and stabs herself, because at least in death they'll be together. And
this isn't how you kill a vampire!
Wonderful. And eventually, Juliet's parents come to pay their respects, refresh the flowers, and find these two bodies and decide that they must let Romeo's family know and settle their differences. So for this scene, Martin, if you could play Mrs. Capulet as Austin Powers, and Josh, if you can be Mr. Capulet as Woody from Toy Story.
Okay.
Oh, this is terribly sad, man. I don't know how to speak so sad.
Wow! Oh no, fucking hell! Well, ain't this a bad display? Tom Hanks, Woody, man.
Totally not groovy, man.
Mr. Montague, I do hereby reckon that we should both take the snakes out of our boots and make better acquaintances with each other so that our children don't have to die anymore.
Totally need peace, man.
And by this point, the Montagues have received news of their dead son, and Mr. Montague comes to see what's going on. And Matt, if you could be Mr. Montague as Freddy Krueger.
What's been happening? Where is my son? Alas, he's on the days and he's dead next to the Capulet woman. I'll haunt all your dreams. Unless
There's
we
a
can make
corpse in our
peace.
tomb.
Perhaps now is time to make peace between our families, because this death's too tragic even for me.
We should totally make peace, man.
And so the Capulet and the Montagues resolved their differences and decided that the two deaths of Tybalt and Mercutio hadn't been enough. The other two were just too much at this point, and they didn't want any more bloodshed in their families, so they settled a truce, and Friar Lawrence, the local wise man, went around spreading the tale of the two star-crossed lovers who had died so tragically in the hopes that it wouldn't happen to anyone else. And the end.
And the end. All lived happily ever after is being phased out. We're bringing in and the end.
Well, not many of them lived happily ever after. So,
Oh, fair enough. I'll give you that.
well, there you are. So, thank you everyone for tuning in and for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back next week with more stories. So in the meantime, stay safe, stay smiling, stay distant, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
If you like this, let us know, and we'll be making more. But let us know if you have any feedback, and we will see you soon.
Out of your friends, which are you? Truck freak crazy ass. The fighter.